The Kawasaki W175 motorbike launched for the first time in Indonesia in 2017 at the Kawasaki Bike Week event. What's interesting about the Kawasaki W175 motorbike is its design. Because with this retro design, in fact, many modifiers are still modifying the Kawasaki W175. Many builders are showing off their best work at the Jakarta Fair Kemayoran 2018 event. Another fact about the Kawasaki W175 motorbike is that it was the first initiator in Indonesia about retro-style motorbikes with engines under 200 cubic centimeters. After the birth of the Kawasaki W175 motorbike, many retro motorbikes began to adorn the Indonesian market, such as Vir Vintech and Motobi 152. The design is retro or classic. The Kawasaki W175 motorbike itself is very thick with the DNA of the Kawasaki W family. The contemporary old-school style is contributed by the round lamp design on the main light section of the Kawasaki W175 motorbike. Not only that, the use of two suspensions on the right and left on the rear suspension makes the retro impression even thicker. Even more retro because the Kawasaki W175 uses finger rims that were commonly used by old-school motorcycles. It should also be noted that the Kawasaki W175 motorbike has two variants, namely the Standard and Special editions. The Standard variant has one color choice, namely Pearl Crystal White. Meanwhile, the Special Edition variant has three color choices, namely Metallic Spark Black, New Silver and Metallic Matte Covert Green. If there are still old-school motorbikes, it is definitely the most problematic performance part, because in terms of performance, they are definitely far behind today's motorbikes. It turns out that this does not apply to the Kawasaki W175 motorbike. The reason is already using a high-performance engine. The Kawasaki W175 motorbike uses a 4-stroke SOHC 1-sill water-cooled type engine with a 177 cubic centimeter cylinder. From this machine, the Kawasaki W175 motorbike can produce a maximum power of 13 PS at 7,500 RPM. Meanwhile, the torque that can be achieved is 13.2 Nm at 6,000 RPM. Kawasaki W175 retro motorbike uses a 5-speed transmission with a DC CDI ignition system and a Mikuni VM24 carburetor fuel system. Being a retro motorbike that is quite in demand in the market, the Kawasaki W175 uses a semi-double cradle frame. In addition, the Kawasaki W175 also uses a single 220mm disc brake for the front, while the rear uses a drum 110mm. For support, the Kawasaki W175 uses 80 divided by 100-17M divided by C46P front tires and 100 divided by 90-17M divided by C55P rear tires. To provide comfort in driving, the Kawasaki W175 motorbike has been supported by a swing arm suspension, dual shock absorbers with spring preload adjustability for the rear, then the front uses a 30mm inverted fork suspension. Strengths and weaknesses. The current hectic genre of retro motorcycles was started by the Kawasaki W175, which was launched in 2017. Of course, the Kawasaki W175 motorbike has advantages and disadvantages that auto lovers should know. Moreover, if auto lovers intend to have a Kawasaki W175 motorcycle, the first advantage is obvious, namely the classic design but with a modern feel. Then for business, the price is also quite affordable. How much? Below, we have provided auto lovers. To make the rider comfortable, the Kawasaki W175 motorcycle seat is designed low, so that the rider's feet can tread on the asphalt. Even though the Kawasaki W175 motorcycle is included in the naked bike segment, but in terms of weight it doesn't feel like the motorcycle segment. The weight of the Kawasaki W175 motorbike is quite light. Then, the Kawasaki W175 motorbike does not have modern technology, so you can still get it serviced at any workshop, without worrying about it or not, this workshop. And the most important thing is that the Kawasaki W175 motorbike is claimed to be economical in fuel consumption. Without modern features, it becomes a minus point for the Kawasaki W175 motorbike. On the inside itself, this motor is also still using a carburetor. In addition, they also still use bulbs in their lights, not using LEDs. Actually, the disadvantages of the Kawasaki W175 motorbike can be advantages too, depending on the user. Because considering this motorbike is a classic motorbike genre, the shortcomings of the Kawasaki W175 can also be advantages. Kawasaki W175 specifications. As a retro-style motorbike, are the specifications of the Kawasaki W175 motorbike also retro or old-fashioned motorbike specifications? To clarify the specifications of this Kawasaki W175 motorbike, we provide a table of complete specifications for the Kawasaki W175 motorbike. By knowing the full specifications of the Kawasaki W175 itself, auto lovers can draw conclusions about whether this Kawasaki W175 motorbike is of good quality. Then, is the price of the Kawasaki W175 also compatible with the specifications that support the Kawasaki W175? Suspension.